Welcome to Embody Your Brilliance, a podcast for visionary daughters of immigrants and creative entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Eunice Kimian, Somatic life and business coach, mom, and Korean-American eldest daughter of immigrants. Each week, you'll hear stories, insights, and conversations to help you embody your unique brilliance beyond survival mode, so that you can design a life you actually want and grow a peaceful, profitable business you're proud of that supports you. Hi everyone, welcome back to Embody Your Brilliance. I'm your host, Eunice Kimian, and this episode, it really hits home. It's something that I've been dealing with on my own business journey, and it's just a theme that comes up over and over again among my clients that I support. So it's about why it's so hard to feel enough as a daughter of immigrants entrepreneur, as a goal-oriented, high-achieving daughter of immigrants, why it feels like you're always behind, why it feels like you're always behind your future self, and what your inner overachiever actually needs. So I want to share a little bit about what's been coming up for me, and I'm curious if this is something that you experience as well. So I am currently doing pretty well in my business where looking back at the last 6 months of my business, I've experienced so much growth. I've accomplished all of my goals and things are going really great. And there's a part of me that's like, what's wrong? Like, why am I not there yet? And this is a theme that comes up among my clients as well, and a lot of other daughters of immigrants that I've connected with. And this just came up in a conversation with a dear friend recently where I'm like, I'm putting together this podcast and I feel like this should be super fun and playful and, very low stakes given that my business is feeling really solid. But why does it feel so high stakes? Why does it feel like I need to make this perfect right now? So I want to talk about why, as a high achieving daughter of immigrants, you may always feel like you're at a deficit to your future self. And it's like even when things are going well, maybe you're booked out, maybe you're booking your dream clients, maybe you've increased your revenue and hit your revenue goals, maybe you're becoming more visible and sharing more freely in the ways that you want. Is there still a part of you that's still feeling like, what's next? What's wrong? Like, why am I not there yet? Even though I just accomplished my goal, I don't feel accomplished. Or even though I know I made a lot of progress, it doesn't feel like I'm making progress. And there's just this perpetual pressure to get to the next thing, get to the next goal, get to the next milestone. And it's not that I'm cognitively thinking that I'm not working hard. I know I'm working hard and I know I'm not lazy. And I'm very grateful for all that I've accomplished and all that I've been able to create. But there's this feeling inside that just makes me feel like I'm hungry for more and I just need to keep going in order to be okay. And it's because, like, on a nervous system level, like, I was wired this way, right? For achievement, for upward mobility, for survival. And as an eldest daughter of immigrants, I was not praised for being at the present moment. I was being praised because I was getting to the next milestone, right? And so I feel like this version of me that's always looking for the next thing was validated and praised for thinking that way all my life. And so my nervous system got used to just being so future oriented. What it comes down to is my inner overachieving eldest daughter of immigrants, let's just call her that. She never got the recognition or the validation growing up from her parents in the ways that she needed it. I Received some validation and recognition, yes, but it's mostly when, for example, like I would do well in school or something would happen, and then some other person's mom, a peer's mom, would tell my mom that I'm doing well, and then my mom would be humble and be like, "No, no, no." That's the Asian mom way of validation, you know what I mean? It's like staying humble, but secretly, like, she's feeling proud of me, but I don't know, I don't remember a lot of times where she's like, "Oh, I'm proud of you," you know, or like, "Wow, that was really great. This is enough. Like, you are enough." Like, I've never heard that before. And I know that my mom and my dad feel proud of me and have felt proud of me. But I think as a child, I just maybe needed that direct validation. I don't know. But I just know that within me, I've learned to be very nonchalant about my achievements or me getting to my goal because what I received from my parents was nonchalance or just kind of like a little pat on the back, sort of, but like indirectly. So because I didn't get that verbal affirmation, I just told myself, oh, this isn't a big deal. Oh, I really wanted this goal and I worked really hard to get there and it was really hard. I tried so hard and I made it through. Okay, cool, whatever. What's the next thing? What's the next thing? Like, that was just how I was basically modeled to treat myself when achieving something. And so, in some ways, this served me because I worked really hard and I never was satisfied. So I just kept going and achieved the next goal and the next goal. So in some ways, it was very productive. And I feel like my schools, my workplaces all kind of validated that again. And this just wired me to keep striving. But the thing is, though, now it's really hard for me to just stop and say, wow, this is what we prayed for. Wow, I'm doing exceptionally well. Like, it's so hard for me to say that about anything that I do because my brain is already fixated on where I'm trying to go. And it's the part of me that feels like I'm always feeling short. I started to ask myself, what does she really need? Right. And so I do feel like there's a younger part of me that keeps asking, "Oh, did I do enough? Am I enough? Like, did I do a good job? Do you love me?" You know? And I don't think she was told that you're doing so well, great job. Like, I've been told that from teachers and bosses or friends, but not from, I think, my parents that in the ways that I needed it. And it's not that that version of me is broken or not enough, but I think she's just really wanting to make sure that her parents are proud of her and she's proud of herself and she is loved and she is enough. All the things. I was joking with my friend who I was talking to about this. Like, I feel like so much of life and business and everything comes down to what were your needs as a child? What needs were not met? And then how do we reparent ourselves to make sure that we feel validated and loved? And it's like, yeah, that's basically what's happening here, right? That part of me needed the recognition, the celebration, the grounding in the present, the love, the verbal affirmation, instead of the nonchalance or the pressure or this proving energy of, okay, now what's next? Can you do this? Can you do that? Can you prove yourself in this way? That part is just really tired and just wants that relief of knowing that you're actually really good. You're more than good. You're exceptional, and you don't need to prove yourself. I think this comes up in my business in many different ways. And so I noticed that even when things are going well, especially when things are going well, my tendency is to kind of create problems or chaos just to feel like I'm doing something or just to feel like I'm getting that dopamine hit of solving a problem or solving chaos. But that's not a good strategy for peaceful, profitable business. Like, that's just my nervous system looking for regulation. And one way this has showed up in my business recently is this podcast. So it's very meta, but I'm talking about my process of creating this podcast and putting it out there is that I have felt like, okay, this is the right time. I feel really good. I'm ready. But then I noticed myself putting a lot of pressure on it for it to be exactly what it needs to be, to give me everything I needed to give me. And all of a sudden, it just became stressful because I was like, okay, how do I want this to be? What am I going to say? And the moment I put that much pressure on it, it just got to be a little bit painful. So I had to take a moment to step back, being like, okay, why am I putting so much pressure on this? And I notice I do that with a lot of things. And it's because I am very confident in what I do, what I'm capable of. And this isn't my first time podcasting. So that gives me a lot of confidence and conviction going into it. But sometimes that confidence is attached to the outcome versus the confidence of my capability, right? So there's a difference there. And I think sometimes I conflate the two and I attach the confidence to the outcome too, which doesn't really help because, I can't control the outcome. I can't control the result, but I can control and be intentional about how I show up through the process, how I navigate it, right? And this reminds me of a lesson that I learned from birthing my child is I really needed to surrender how it was going to go, surrender to the outcome. I cannot control the process of birthing my baby. And the only thing I can do is believe in myself and feel confident in my ability to navigate whatever was coming my way and to trust the process and be present. And so I've been challenging myself to show up in my business in the same way of how can I approach my business, my podcast, all the things with a sense of deep, full body confidence in my capabilities and my intuition and my ability to be present to whatever challenge comes my way, but surrender to the outcome. I don't even know where all of this may take me, right? Like with the business, with the podcast, I only know what I know. I cannot possibly predict every single outcome and results, right? I can think strategically about how I want to get to where I want to go, what kind of podcast I want this to be, how I show up with intention, outline some of the topics. Like I can do that, but I can't control exactly where this all leads, right? And so that relieves some of the pressure knowing that I'm going in not with just this pressure to achieve a result, but rather just in full confidence that this is in alignment and I am ready and I am capable and I am able to meet the occasion, that I can meet whatever comes my way with confidence and in connection with my body and my intuition and feeling supported. And so something that helped me is reflect on just my process of creating my newsletter. And so I've shared in the previous episode about how I've been on my entrepreneurial journey for quite a while now. And there's just been many iterations of how I've shared my work. But I did go into a hiatus after burning out with one of my iterations of my business. But I do think looking back, part of that burnout was I needed to go inwards a little bit to kind of reassess and realign and live life a little bit to kind of inform my next step and next iteration of my business. And when I became pregnant, I just felt this immense creative desire an urge to put something out there again, some sort of offer, some sort of business. And after many, many months of trying to figure out what that was, I landed on I want to share more through my newsletter, which I had written in a long time ago. And I didn't know where it was going to lead. I didn't know what the next iteration of my business was going to look like. I was deep in my pregnancy brain and juggling corporate and all the things to figure out, like, I had no idea where this newsletter was leading me. I just knew that I wanted to share what was present in me, my pregnancy journey, my motherhood journey, ancestral healing, somatic healing, all of that. And even within the first two newsletters, my offer started shaping up. I offered some somatic healing sessions and somatic coaching sessions, and it led to a one-on-one coaching program that I put out there, and that one-on-one coaching program has evolved through the months and the years. And I just look back at the brave version of me that sent out that first email when she really didn't know where all of this was going to lead her. But within a couple of years, look at where she got me, right? I just feel so much more clear and solid in my business. But it took that bravery of the version of me to send that first newsletter. And had I put so much pressure on that first iteration of what I put out, I might not be where I am today because she didn't take that action. And so knowing that I know the part of me that wants to do everything perfectly the first time has the best intentions for me, but it doesn't actually help me. As a high achieving daughter of immigrants, I don't need more pressure. It's really about like, how can I relieve the pressure and still feel safe and secure and guarantee my success to some degree? And while I cannot fully guarantee the exact outcome that I'm about to try to create, what I can do is feel very grounded in myself and my ability to make decisions and discern whether or not this feels aligned right now and take my step forward with my strategic brain, strategizing a plan, with my creative brain, feeling creative about how I create that plan, and just be able to move forward, because I think perfectionism and that pressure to get that first iteration perfect is the thing that can just keep us stuck, right? And so something that I've noticed among my clients as well as even myself is I'm a visionary. And so many of the folks I work with are visionaries too. And there's something so powerful about it. It's a superpower, it's a gift. You can see what's possible. You can connect with your future self and you have a big vision, but without grounding, that future vision can feel very high pressure. And there's a lot of blanket statements out there, advice around connect with your future self, envision your goal. And frankly, as a high achieving eldest daughter of immigrants, I have no problem connecting with my future self, but I tend to ignore or neglect my past self. And I think that's where a lot of daughters of immigrants are looking for support is, yes, we want to connect with our future selves, but we also don't want to be always doing that without connecting to the past you. Because connecting to the past you, you see how far you've come. You start validating yourself for all that you've made progress in and how the present moment is literally what you've been praying for. You are literally living parts of what past you prayed for. And it makes me be in awe of the bravery of the version of me that said yes, that sent that email, that put out that offer, to recording that video. It just makes me really appreciate and be in awe and love on the versions of myself that got me here. Because as visionaries, as daughters of immigrants, you often don't need anyone telling you what to do or pushing you towards where you want to go. We have enough drive, we have enough willpower, we have enough capabilities. It's just that there's just so much pressure? And that's why being able to zoom out 10,000 feet and seeing just how much you've been able to accomplish, how much you've moved through, how much you've rebirthed in this lifetime, and how many cycles you've been breaking generationally. Where are you compared to where you began? And not just thinking about what's next, but really connecting with that past you and thanking them and loving on them and just celebrating them, because that's not just to feel good. It helps us feel more anchored into our own power, anchored into our own capabilities. It anchors into our confidence because it's validating the part of us that accomplished something. It's validating us through evidence that you were able to move through hard things and get to where you are, that you are literally living the dream of your past self. That gives your nervous system evidence and your body evidence that you've done it and you can do it again looking into the future, and that you're not starting from scratch and that you're not behind. In fact, you are where you've been wanting to be, right? And so I know progress isn't always linear. And sometimes when you're in the thick of it, it can be so hard to feel like anything is getting done. But connecting with your past self and acknowledging what you've been able to do and what you've been able to move through can be an underutilized strategy that I believe can be very powerful, specifically for daughters of immigrants who are always looking ahead to what needs to be done. And so, as a high achieving daughter of immigrants, I used to only track progress by outcomes. Like, what did I accomplish? What did I do? What did I generate? But now I also ask, how rested and resourced do I feel? How happy do I feel? Am I honoring my values? Do I trust myself more? Am I allowing myself to receive support? These are real wins because they're aligned with my definition of success. And even if your parents didn't recognize these specific wins as something to celebrate, or even if my parents didn't necessarily recognize the small micro wins as something to throw a party about, doesn't mean that you can't now, right? So, as entrepreneurs, we really need to figure out how to get that validation for ourselves and feel good enough and feel like we're doing well, because we don't have a manager telling us, you're doing great. Here's where you've been doing really great. Like the performance review, like check, 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 you're doing great. Here's a promotion. As entrepreneurs, as CEOs, we need to be able to do that for ourselves, or create a support system where we're able to receive that validation or the mirroring so that we feel like we're making progress, because you probably aren't doing a performance review for yourself every quarter, nor do you need to, but it's just more of a reflection period. And I think that if I don't do a quarterly look back at what I've been able to do and how I've been able to make progress, it can kind of feel like I haven't been doing anything this quarter, or my baseline version of myself just feels like what I've achieved right now or where I'm at in my business is normal and this is my baseline and I just need to do more. And so the goalpost can keep moving, right? So how can you prioritize looking back to recognize the wins and your progress? And also, how can you expand the metrics of measuring your success, be aligned with your definition of success? So, if you want to create a peaceful, profitable business, make sure peace is something that you're using as a way to measure or reflect on whether or not you're achieving progress, not just the profit or the performance. And so I just want to say, you are not behind. The part of you that wants to rush just wants to feel safe. What part of you is feeling that way? And what is she craving? What are they craving? What compassion or validation or acknowledgement or celebration or even dopamine hit? Like, what does that part of you crave? And how can you give that validation to yourself or create a space where you can get that validation from someone else? You can design that for yourself. And so, if this is something that resonates with you and you feel that you're constantly feeling like you need to catch up to where you are meant to be, and you're accomplishing your goals, but you still feel behind, and you feel self-aware, but because of that self-awareness, you feel frustrated that you're not where you know you can be. And you feel like that visionary within you is actually being really hard on yourself, which is making your entrepreneurial journey more of a struggle or on the road to burnout than a peaceful, profitable, sustainable business that you are so excited by on a daily basis and feel just so proud of yourself and feel so confident and capable in how you show up for your business and how it supports your life. I would love to support you in one-on-one somatic business coaching. I work with high achieving daughters of immigrants who are visionaries, who are bringing their badass businesses into reality and really helping them see that they are enough and they are able to make business feel more neutral, where they can just show up and shine and unapologetically do your thing and reach your goals and feel peace along the way, where you don't feel like you're proving yourself and proving your worth through the next milestone and making your worth conditional to just the next milestone and the next milestone. Book a one-on-one clarity call with me. I would love to go deep and hear what's coming up for you. What's your goal in business and life right now in this season of life? And what are some obstacles and challenges that are coming up your way? And we'll start out with a deep dive one-on-one when you sign up with me to solve for your number one obstacle that's in the way and get to know the different parts of you that are showing up in your business right now. That way, when we meet bi-weekly through our one-on-one calls and through voice note and text support in between, we'll be able to implement and move you closer and closer to the goals that you have for yourself without feeling like you're proving your worth at every milestone. And I just want to say, you don't have to do this alone. I love this work and feel so honored to be part of these brilliant, visionary daughters of immigrants, entrepreneurs, and creatives. And I thrive in helping you bring your vision to life in a way that's aligned with your version of success. So if that's something that you're calling into your season of life in this moment, hit me up and I would love to connect. You can do that by booking a one-on-one call. Connect with me on Instagram. Also have an upcoming event called Safe to Shine. It's all about unblocking your visibility to show up in the ways that you want for your business and in life, and finding ways to move forward even when it feels like you constantly feel like you have to prove yourself and prove your worth. You can RSVP to that free event in the show notes. And if this episode resonated with you, let me know. Okay, see you in the next one.